What is good, YouTube world? It is your boy, R Press, and I want to welcome you all to the inaugural Millennial Funk Sports Show. I know some of you guys might be familiar with my other show. It's called the H-Town Shutdown, where I break down everything Houston sports. Well, this is sports in general. We break down the NFL here, Major League Baseball, NCAA football, NCAA basketball, the NBA, MMA, boxing, whatever sporting event is going on or sporting seasons going on, even the NHL, we break it down right here on the Millennial Funk Sports Show. So welcome to the show, guys. I appreciate you guys chilling with me. Today's show is a heavy hitter. It's a good one, and it's also going to be fun. I am predicting the NFL standings for 2023. So this is the show where I give my thoughts on what I believe will play out as far as the standings in the AFC and the NFC. So here's how I'm gonna break it down. Excuse me. I'm gonna start with the AFC, go through each of the divisions, go to do the same thing for the NFC, and then to cap it off, I give you my prediction on what the playoffs will look like as far as 1 through 7. Not who's going to win the Super Bowl or anything of that nature yet, or maybe I might. We'll see. I might give you a treat and go on and do that. But yeah, just to cap it off, I guess I will go on and do that. But yeah, so it's gonna be a fun episode. This is the episode that you guys are gonna during the season hark back to and hold me to it and see just how wrong my predictions are and how outlandish they are. So I appreciate you guys chilling with me and hanging with me, and let's have some fun with this one. So without further ado, if you see me looking to the right, my notes are to the right of my standings. I jotted it down. So I'm going to look to the right, and my right will be your left while I break this down. But without further ado, let's start with the AFC, as I said. And let's begin with the AFC South, where my favorite team, the Houston Texans, play in. All right. So just a synopsis of the AFC South. Last year's champion was the Jacksonville Jaguars. And going into this season, the Jaguars are getting a lot of love, and they are the favorites to come out of the AFC South. They won, I think, the last 7 games, went on a hot streak, and went into the playoffs. And then who can forget they came back being down 27-0 to the LA Chargers to win that game in the wild card round of playoffs and push the Chiefs to a pretty tough game in the second round. Chiefs were the eventual champions. That Jaguars run to me wasn't fool's gold. I'm not going to sit here and say it was. I'm not going to disrespect it. Trevor Lawrence took a huge step forward. Obviously, Doug Peterson was a complete upgrade to whatever Urban Meyer was doing in that season a couple of years ago. I just don't think that. And here's the thing: I do believe that they'll be a better team than what they were last year. I just don't think that the record will reflect that. I don't think that the first place schedule helps. And I think that there's going to be a lot more expectations. We see how Jacksonville handles that. And we'll see if they're able to back it up. But I don't believe they're going to win the AFC South. So I believe that the team that's going to win the AFC South is the Tennessee Titans. Pains me to say it as a Texan fan, not a Titan guy at all. But I do see a solid team, and I do see a solid coach. Mike Vrabel is one of the best. Last year, there was a lot of injuries. And also there was a lot of unfortunate breaks and losing. I think they lost their last 7 games, went on a losing streak, including that winner win a division game, last game of the year against Jacksonville. They lost that one. Who was the quarterback? Was it Josh Dobbs, I think? So a lot of injuries, a lot of things that didn't break their way. I think that changes this year. I see them going 11-6. And winning the AFC South. The Jacksonville Jaguars, to me, will finish second in the division, and I believe they'll finish 8-9. Now, like I said, the record may not reflect it because they're playing the first place schedule, but I do believe that they will be a better team than what they were last year, and Trevor Lawrence will be taking steps forward. So I don't see it as a step back. It will be to them. They won the division and got in the playoffs last year, so it will be a step back in their mind. But I do think that Jacksonville is a better team than what they were last year. It's just, schedule's harder and it won't reflect it. Now, this one may surprise you, maybe not, because I am the guy that does a podcast called H-Town Shutdown. But I have the Houston Texans finishing 6-11 in the division, doubling their wins from last year and getting third place. I see them taking a step forward. I see them being a competitive team. I see them looking a lot better than what they've looked in the past, and I see bright steps being taken in the future. Only problem is, I think the division is tougher, obviously, but I also think their schedule will be a little tough with them playing the AFC North and I think the NFC South as well. I had to double check that. I think it's the NFC South. But I do see them getting 6 wins and 11 losses, doubling their win total from last year. And last but not least, the Indianapolis Colts, I think, finished 2-15 and will be in position for the number 1 pick again. And we'll see what the Anthony Richardson project looks like. Hopefully he stays healthy and he gets some meaningful reps if you're a Colts fan. And I like throwing him in the fire. I like giving him some playing time because if you look back at his time at Florida, didn't play that much there. Didn't play that much in Florida. So it's going to be a learning curve. It's going to be a tough year. But I think in the long run, it will benefit the Colts. Just that their team is just not good and it's a mess. The Jonathan Taylor situation was it was handled poorly, I believe, by the Colts and Taylor as well, but mostly the Colts. And I just don't see them, overcoming that as a distraction. Irsay is a weird guy. Chris Ballard, if you really think about it, hasn't really done a great job as a GM. A lot of it isn't his fault, but a lot of it is. The Andrew Luck retirement, they're still trying to recover from that. So maybe Richardson's a bright spot. We'll see. But I got the Colts finishing last, 2-15. So to recap the NFC South, Titans first place, 11-6. Jaguars second place, 8-9. Texans third place, 6-11. And fourth place, the Colts, 2-15. All right, guys, let's go to, I think, the most competitive division in football, the AFC North. Breakdown last year, Cincinnati Bengals won that division for the second straight time. Ended up riding that all the way to the AFC Championship game, just coming up a little short against the Chiefs. Almost lost to the Ravens in that first game of the wild card. No Lamar Jackson. The Ravens Ravens re-signed Lamar. Gave him some weapons in the draft. Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham Jr. comes over as a free agent. The defense was not great last year, and I don't think it's going to be great again. I don't think it's going to be great this year either. It lost a lot of veteran leadership. Outside of Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen, not a lot of guys there. Maybe Marlon Humphreys, but I think he's hurt again. So the Browns, they were without Deshaun Watson for the first 12 games of the year. And when he came back, he was a below average quarterback. The Browns got a lot of talent. You look at that roster, it's like, that's a talented team, man. So you can see them doing something. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers, well coached, physical team, and by all accounts, they're going to be even more physical this year. Kenny Pickett taking a step forward. He looked pretty great. He looked great. I'll just say it. He looked great in it's preseason, but he looked great in preseason. And we know Mike Tomlin doesn't have a losing record. So this division is going to be tough, man. You can make a case for each team of winning it. And to me, man, I think just looking at the schedule, man, I think Cincinnati's going to win the division again. I got them at 12-5. I think the Steelers are going to be the second place team, 10-6. 11-6. So it'll be a fight to the end. I think the Browns will be 10-7. I think Deshaun takes a step forward. Maybe not. I don't know. He's kind of hard to predict, especially after last year. But the Browns got a lot of talent. Nick Chubb, one of the best backs in the league. A lot of talent on defense. The offensive line is really good. You can see the Browns making a run. You can make a case of them winning the division too. Myles Garrett and all that talent on defense. I just see them losing some close games, and I'm not sure Watson is the old Watson. And to be honest, guys, I don't know if we see that guy that we saw in Houston again. Now, might be. I take it with a grain of salt. I'm a Texan fan. I was a little salty the way he left. With the with the scandal and the lawsuits, asking for a trade the year after. And I get it. The Texans are a dysfunctional organization. Easterby, he didn't like what he was doing here. Nobody did. The Bill O'Brien thing was up and down. I get it. But if you know that, don't sign the extension the year before. But that's just my opinion. But after missing almost 2 years of football, he came back last year and he didn't look anything like it, like how he looked in Houston. So we'll see how that plays out. I don't trust him. I don't trust it. I don't trust him. I don't know if Stefanski's the right guy. We'll see. I think they finished 10-7 though, pretty good. Baltimore is a team I have finishing last place. The Lamar Jackson contract thing got pretty ugly in the offseason, but they ended up getting it done. And but here's my thing with Baltimore. Lamar Jackson the past 2 years was hurt in December. Didn't play. Last year, he was in the middle of a contract dispute as well, so he wasn't coming back anyway. But the year before, he was hurt, and he didn't play in December, and they fell apart. They start off fast, and I think they'll do the same thing. But they seem to plateau these past couple of years. I don't see that changing. I get it. It's a new offense with the new offensive coordinator. It's supposed to be, relying less on Lamar's legs, but utilizing it in different situations. We'll see how that works. That defense isn't great either, especially that back end. It was bad last year, the secondary. I don't see it changing. I don't see where the pass rush is coming from. I think there's a guy that he wears number 99. I'm forgetting his name. That might be the only pass rush they have. Two great linebackers. I like Queen and Roquan Smith, but that's about it, man. I see them going 8-9. So to recap it, I got the Bengals winning the division at 12-5. Steelers right behind them at 11-6. The Browns right behind them at 10-7. And at 8-9, I got the Baltimore Ravens. All right. So let's go to the AFC West. The defending Super Bowl champions are in that division, the Kansas City Chiefs. They won that division for like the 7th or 8th time last year. The LA Chargers they were second place in the division, made the playoffs in a wild card. The Raiders had a struggle year, and the Broncos had a disastrous year. Let's see what will happen this year. For me, until I see it, I'm not going to bet against it. The Chiefs are going to win that division. Come on, man. The Broncos hadn't beaten them in 8 years. The Chargers might split with them every once in a while. The Raiders got one split 3-4 years ago, and then they've been getting swept ever since. The Chiefs are going to win that division. I see them being 12-5, winning the division. I got the Chargers finishing second place, just like they did last year. I think they're a better team talent-wise than what they were last year. I don't think I like the Kellen Moore ad as offensive coordinator. I don't trust Brandon Staley. So I'm just being honest. After what happened 2 years ago with that winner get in, or even, hey, how about we tie and we both get in with the Raiders? And he blows it going for it on fourth down as often as he did, and they blow that and lose that game. I was out on him then. I thought he probably should have got fired then. But he survived. Missing the playoffs. Last year is inexcusable. Because if we go back 2 years ago, they missed the playoffs, losing that game to the Chiefs in December and losing the game to the Texans. At that time, that was David Culley Texans in Houston. Wasn't even close. They lost that, and they still had a chance in the last game of the year. And if they just would have tied the Las Vegas Raiders, they would have both been in, and they were tied. And probably they were both tied at the last seconds, and Staley blows it. Now, if he didn't get fired for that one, I don't think last year is excusable, the way that they lost that playoff game last year. I mean, they were losing. It was kind of rocky with them getting in, but they got in. And the way they lost that playoff game, being up 27-0, and you lose, he should have got fired then. So I don't trust Staley. And as long as he's there, I don't believe they're going to be a real threat. They'll make the playoffs. I think they make the playoffs because I think Herbert's that good. Plus, he got some great receivers. Problem is injuries always, and I mean always gets the Chargers. Derwin James is hurt every year. Great player. He gets hurt every year, missed a few games. Mike Williams is hurt damn near every other game. Keenan Allen gets hurt. Almost all their receivers get hurt. They added that TCU receiver in the first round to strengthen an already strong receiving room. Austin Eckler, all around back, great player. I am a Justin Herbert guy. I believe he's phenomenal. I really do. I just don't trust Staley, and I don't trust the Chargers' history to get it done. They should be better than what I'm putting them at, which is 10-7 and second in division. But I just don't see it being better. In third place, I got the Denver Broncos, 6-11 with Sean Payton at the helm. Sean Payton will be obviously better than Nathaniel Hackett. I just don't think he's going to turn it all around and get them in the playoffs or even compete in this division. What we saw from Russell Wilson last year, if we're going to be honest, I mean, he got hurt the year before, but he was tailoring off then. But last year was a confusing, baffling drop. And, you know, maybe Peyton can come and correct that. And I don't think he would be as bad as he was last year. I don't see him being the old Russell Wilson, though. I just don't see it. After what we saw, people have down years, you know. But now that year was that was worse than a down year. That was like, this guy's one of, if not the worst quarterback in the league this year. If it wasn't for Zach Wilson or somebody, he would be right there. That's an astronomical fall from just leaving Seattle to Denver, and then you see what Geno Smith was able to do. It was an all around bad look for Russell Wilson, man. And maybe that's clouding my judgment. Maybe it is. I just don't see it changing, to be honest with you. I think he'll be a little bit better, but he's already lost two of his top three receivers, start going into the year. And if we're going to be honest, he looks shaky even in preseason. I don't see it, guys. I really don't. And last, the Raiders, 5-12. Maybe the defense is better. I don't know. They've been a bad defense forever. And I was talking about how I don't trust Staley. Well, I definitely don't trust Josh McDaniels, and it wouldn't be shocking if he got fired at the end of the year, because he's not the guy. I don't believe that he is. I didn't like the way they handled the Carr situation, almost making it seem like it was all his fault. Now you got Jimmy Garoppolo, which he's not better than Carr. Nice, pretty good, pretty good player. But the thing with Jimmy, he's always hurt. Jimmy G will get hurt again. That's just the nature of it. I do like Aiden O'Connell, though. I do like him. I know it's preseason, but he looked like he could be pro. He's pro ready, man. I like what I saw from him. I don't trust Josh McDaniels, though. Sorry, I don't. Maybe they proved me wrong this year. You still got Devontae Adams there. I think Hunter Renfro's still there. Josh Jacobs, they signed him. Got that finished, got that done. But I until you see a stark improvement on the defensive end, and you see a coaching improvement with Josh McDaniels, I don't see it. Raiders finished 5-12. Now here's one caveat with the Chiefs. Chris Jones. He's as of September 3rd, while I'm doing this video, he's not in camp. He missed all of training camp, all of preseason, trying to get a deal done. Wants a new deal. He said he'll be back, by week 8. By that time, I'm not saying they won't be out of it, because they still got Mahomes, they still got Kelsey, they still got Andy Reid. But you need him at least by the time December comes in the playoffs. Because if you think about the big plays that were made on defense, it was him. The sacks, the pressure, the run stops. The guy's phenomenal. You need him in the room. Last but not least, the AFC East. This is the most intriguing division, right? The Buffalo Bills won it last year, and they won 13 games, looking pretty dominant. The Miami Dolphins had a pretty good year last year. They were in second place. New England finished third with a pretty up and down year. Mac Jones took a step back, but maybe all that wasn't his fault. Maybe it was Bill Belichick's fault for hiring Matt Patricia and Joe Judge as offensive coordinators. It's amazing they won 8 games. Amazing, because that was not a. I'm still shaking my head at that, scratching my head at that. Excuse me. And then the Jets finished last with a great defense, but a terrible, terrible quarterback situation. Well, we all know that has changed. Aaron Rodgers comes in as a quarterback for the New York Jets, eerily similar to what Brett Favre leaving the Packers, and he was a Jet. But Aaron Rodgers is an all-time great quarterback. He changes the room. He gives you confidence. Is that enough for me to believe that they're going to win the division? I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I don't. I think the defense is phenomenal. It really is. But is Rodgers enough for you to win the division and be Super Bowl champions? I don't believe so. I still think Buffalo wins that division. Now, I will say this. Buffalo takes a step back. They're not winning 13 games like they did last year. The way that they flamed out in the playoffs against the Cincinnati Bengals should have been alarming. Now, I didn't have a show then, but I did pick Cincinnati to get back to the Super Bowl. I thought Cincinnati was a better team, and I thought they were going to beat them in that game that unfortunately got canceled because of the unfortunate Damar Hamlin situation. But they were moving the ball even on that drive, and I just thought that they didn't match up well with Cincinnati. But they was in Buffalo at home in the snow, and they got trounced. And it was like, Stephon Diggs was yelling, and obviously he was upset. It carried over into the offseason. Now they're all good, supposedly. I think that was the first time he really questioned if he had the quarterback that'll get him to the Super Bowl. I think this is the first time that he has really questioned that since being in Buffalo. And I think they take a step back, to be honest with you. Division's tougher. First place schedule, games are harder. And I don't know if they really improved in the offseason. They did. I will say this. In the tight end room, I believe they did with the rookie that Dalton Kincaid that they drafted. I think that helps him out a lot. But, situational football, red zone interceptions that Josh Allen was throwing, the turnovers, the fumbles, the defense not being able to get a stop and get off the field. Von Miller not starting the year. He's starting the year on the PUP list. I think they finished 10-7. I still think they win the division, but I think they finished 10-7. With the same identical record in second place, I think the Jets are going to finish 10-7. I just think that they lose both games to Buffalo. Or at least lose a tiebreaker. May not lose both games. I think they split maybe, but lose the tiebreaker. At 9-8, I got the New England Patriots. I think the Patriots will take a step forward. Everybody's doubting, even me. Everybody's doubting Bill Belichick and that coaching staff because of the way that they looked last year was horrendous. We just go to the Raiders game, and that's enough for you. Stupidest play in NFL history on Belichick's watch. One of the dumbest play I'd ever seen on Belichick's watch. That was an embarrassing year last year. And pretty much, let's be honest, Kraft pretty much said that he expects to make the playoffs. And if not, this could be the end of Bill Belichick. And I think they respond, but they don't have enough talent to respond to where they're going to win the division. They get over 500. I believe they finish 9-8 simply because I believe in the coaching job Belichick will do. I believe in that team's wherewithal to compete, but they're not winning the division. They're not making the playoffs, and I think it's the end of an era in New England. And this might surprise many, but last place in the division, I see the Miami Dolphins. One thing that really people just have to come to grips with: Tua Tagovailoa just won't stay healthy. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Is there any reason to believe it? I mean, he's put on 10 pounds of muscle. Okay. I don't think he's going to be healthy. And if he is throughout the whole year, I'm wrong on this. But this prediction is strictly, I don't think he's going to be healthy. Straight up. Because if I believe that, I would have them winning the division. I think they're that good of a team. I think they got that much talent. But I don't believe that he will be healthy the entire season. So I'm telling you right now, this is what this prediction is. I predict the Miami Dolphins will finish last simply because I don't believe Tua Tagovailoa will stay healthy throughout the whole year. So in recap, Buffalo wins the division barely. Jets in second place. They each have 10-7 records. 9-8. New England 8-9. The Miami Dolphins. All right. If you're still with me, I appreciate it. We're going to head on to the NFC and knock this out. Let's start in the NFC South. Not a good division at all. But I do think the clear-cut favorite is the New Orleans Saints. Proven quarterback in the league, and Derek Carr. I think he's the best quarterback in that division. The defense has been pretty good past few years, really good past couple of years. The offense was what let them down. I don't trust Dennis Allen. I will say that. I don't think he's a good coach. So if they don't win the division, I know why. But I think they should, and they should be favored. And I got them winning the division at 10-7. Second place, I got the Atlanta Falcons. I like what Atlanta's doing. Let me just be honest. I like what Atlanta's doing and how they look. The only thing I don't like is the quarterback position. Desmond Ridder, small sample size. I just don't believe it. I didn't believe it coming out of college. I didn't think he was going to be a NFL starting quarterback caliber. I just don't believe it. I do think they finished 7-10. They got a lot of talent, but they lose the division and miss the playoffs, obviously. In third place, I got the Bucs. The Bucs finishing 3-14, in my opinion. Not a good team. Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask, doesn't matter who's at quarterback. They're not a good team. Todd Bowles is not a good coach. Tom Brady leaves that room, and so does the wins. And they didn't get too many wins last year anyway. So they're on a decline. I got them 3-14. And I got the Carolina Panthers finishing last at 2-15. Bryce Young's going to get destroyed. That offensive line might be the worst in the league. He's a small guy. I don't even know if he makes it through the year. Really small guy. Bryce Young is really small. He looks smaller than Kyler Murray. Maybe he's not. Maybe, I don't know. He just looks really small. I liked him, though. I kind of wanted the Texans to be in play for him. But if you got offensive line like the one they're running out in Carolina, it's not going to work at all. 2-15. All right. NFC North. Preseason pick. There's a lot of hype on two teams right now. The Detroit Lions, because of how they finished last year, and the Chicago Bears have been getting a lot of love. Let me just say this. I don't see it with the Bears. I just don't. Justin Fields just does not look like he may surprise you, and he may surprise me, and he looks way better than he did the first 2 years. He doesn't look like he's a quarterback that's going to be able to sit in the pocket and make the necessary throws to win games. If it's all on his feet, yeah, he'll win you a few games there, not many, if he stays healthy. So I'm not buying the Bears hype at all. I just don't see it. So, and the Lions, I'm not buying it either. I'm not buying it that they're winning the division at all. Until I see it happen, and I haven't seen it in my lifetime. Last time they did it was 1991. I don't see it. So for me, I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. Hear me out. If we look at objectively what happened last year, Aaron Rodgers sank that team. Let's be honest. The drama of the past couple of off seasons, the not building a rapport with the young receivers, coming in probably wasn't in great shape. Didn't take it real seriously. Thought he's Aaron Rodgers. He can come in and do it because he's Aaron Rodgers. That sank that team because that team had a defense in store, but they weren't putting up points last year, and the defense did. Okay, I will admit, defense in the beginning of the season was letting them down as well, but so was Rodgers, whose play dipped. The dude just won back-to-back MVPs the 2 years prior, and that guy wasn't the same guy in last year. Now, if you're going to get that type of production from Jordan Love, I think they can win the division simply because it'll be unexpected. Not much film on them. Also, the defense, I think, should and will play better. Everybody's writing them off ever since Rodgers left. I think they're going to win that division, to be honest with you. 10-7, Green Bay. 9-8, I got the Detroit Lions. I don't think they're winning the division. Like I said, until I see it, I won't believe it. But I do think that they'll be a playoff team, especially in the NFC. Detroit's got a lot of talent. I just don't. But with the expectations coming in with Detroit, I don't see them living up to that and winning the division and being like a 12 win team. I don't see it. But I do have them coming in second in division, finishing over 500, 9-8. Third place, I got the Minnesota Vikings 8-9. They won a lot of close games last year. The defense might be better, should be better under Brian Flores, but they lost a lot of players. And they lost some offensive weapons as well. Now, you got the ultimate weapon in Justin Jefferson, so they're going to be in games simply because of that. And Kirk Cousins, I'm not a huge fan, but I don't think he's as bad as everybody says, or a lot of people think that he is. I think he's pretty good. I thought he played very well last year, to be honest with you. I just don't believe that the Vikings have the defense to withstand it, and I think they take a step back because most of their wins were close games, and we know that doesn't usually translate year to year. So I think they take a step back, finish 8-9. Last, I got the Bears. The Bears finishing last, and they're going to be 5-12. I don't believe in Justin Fields. I don't believe in Matt Eberflus, and I don't think the Bears are just going to take that big, finish last place, and then win the division. I don't see them doing that. I don't. I don't think they have the talent to do it. I don't think they have the quarterback or the coach to do it. I might be wrong, though. Chicago fans can come back and hold me to this, and I welcome it. Let's go to the NFC West. San Francisco 49ers won that division last year. They were, how many wins they had? 12 or 13. And I thought that they mishandled the quarterback situation this year. I thought they mishandled it last year as well, but it didn't really bother them. But I think this time it will hurt them. Not because I'm some believer in Trey Lance. I didn't understand the pick to begin with. The guy barely played, didn't even play in 2020 because of COVID. I get it. He barely played. He only had 1 year in 2019. You're going off of that. He's not ready to play. You wasted picks on him, and you just admitted it by trading him to the Cowboys. Horrible pick. But the Jimmy Garoppolo thing, locking him out of the room, getting lucky with Brock Purdy. And then coming into this year, Trey Lance was a starter in week 1 and 2 last year, going into the season. He couldn't even beat out Sam Darnold this year. It's a mess. It's a mess. Now, every other position and every other roster spot, I think they're elite. The Nick Bosa thing worries me. I thought that contract could be done by now. That as of September 3rd, it's not done. A little bothersome, a little worry if I'm a 49er fan. I just don't see this. Brock Purdy had a great stretch. He's got to do it again for me to be a believer. And I'm not saying he can't, but he's coming off an injury too. I don't see them winning the division, to be honest with you. I got Seattle winning it by a game. Seattle going 11-6, momentum from last year. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're questioning Brock Purdy, but you're not going to question Geno Smith. And he did kind of tail off towards the end of the year. I do think that Geno Smith has kind of turned a corner. I'm not saying he's elite. But he is a serviceable starting quarterback in this league. And Seattle's defense looks to be improved, and I like the weapons around them. To be honest with you, the receiving core is elite. The running back, they're going to have running backs ready to go. The defense under Carroll always reloads, and I think this year is a reload year. They win the division 11-6. I got the 49ers finishing second, 10-7, kind of similar to the year they had in 21. And they made the NFC Championship game that year. So just because they didn't have a great, I think may have finished 10-7 that year as well. I think the same thing happens this year because of the Bosa thing, the way that the quarterback situation was handled, first place schedule. I think they get second place though. The Rams, there's really no hope with them this year. They sold their soul for the Super Bowl, got it. Congratulations. It's going to be a rebuild for years. 3-14. And last place, the team that's trying to lose, I got them at 1-16. I was about to say 0-17, but I do think they muster up and they'll get somebody. It might be the Rams. They'll get somebody. They'll get one win this year, but the Cardinals are going to finish 1-16, and they want to finish 1-16. So I'm going to let them have that. Now the NFC East, last and final division, will break down. Last year, the Philadelphia Eagles won the division. I think they had 14 wins. Cowboys finished second with 12 wins. Giants with 10 wins finished third. And the Redskins had 8. Or excuse me, I still say the Redskins. The Commanders. I almost said the Guardians because I still say the Indians as well. Sorry, guys. The Commanders had 8 wins. So that was a division that was called the NFC Least. It became the NFC Beast. I think it's going to finish similarly, but I think that there's going to be a tie at the top. 12 wins for the Philadelphia Eagles, 12 wins for the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Cowboys get the tiebreaker and win the division. I think the Eagles finish in second, same record, just that the tiebreaker will go to the Cowboys, both at 12-5. I think the Giants take a step back. I'm not a believer in Daniel Jones. I am a believer in the coach and the coaching staff. And I think they'll go 9-8. I think the schedule might be a little bit more difficult for them this going around. They got the AFC East this time around. Giants finished 9-8. Daniel Jones has to do it 2 years in a row for me to start buying in. I don't really buy into it. And I got the Commanders finishing last place 7-10. Ron Rivera is a joke to me as far as coaching. He even stepped in it in his preseason, man. He stepped in it a couple times last year with the Carson Wentz. He pretty much said that teams in the NFC East, what separates you and them, or the quarterback. Then he goes out and acts like he's for Carson Wentz and blames the media for criticizing him. And then he didn't know. He starts Carson Wentz. They lose the game in Week 17, and he didn't know they were eliminated from playoff contention. That was all just last year. This year, he snitches on Eric Bieniemy, tells the media that some of the players on offense don't like his coaching style. Then he tries to clean it up the next day by blaming the media. If you got a guy like that leading your team, you're not going to be consistent. He's only had 3 winning seasons as a coach, and he's been coaching with 10 plus years. I don't believe in it. The Guardians going to have to make a change. They got an ownership change coming in too, so maybe they need a year. The Commanders have a ownership change coming in. Excuse me, with getting Snyder out. Maybe you need a year to get all the bad omens out, and then you could switch coaches, and maybe it'll be a change from them. But I see them finishing 7-10. So I got the Cowboys winning the division at 12-5, Eagles at 12-5. The second place tiebreaker go to the Cowboys, Giants 9-8, and the Commanders 7-10. So now let's break down the playoff positioning. Starting the AFC, I got the number 1 seed as the Chiefs. They're another, until I see it happen, I'm going to believe it. Chiefs are going to finish 1 seed. The Bengals come from a tough division, but they'll finish 2. That's the only reason why they're finishing 2, because the division is just way too tough. I got the Titans finishing in the 3rd seed in the AFC, and I got the Bills in the 4th seed. Steelers, I got coming in the 5th seed in the AFC. The Jets in the 6th seed, and the final playoff spot goes to the Chargers 7th. I see the AFC playing out this way. Bengals move on. They will play the Chargers in that first wild card game. The Jets will play the Titans, and the Steelers will play the Bills. I got the Bengals and the Titans and the Steelers moving on. Steelers will play the Chiefs. Titans and Bengals will play one another. I got the Chiefs beating the Steelers and the Bengals beating the Titans. And I got the Bengals beating the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game to get to the Super Bowl. All right, let's go to the NFC. I think the Cowboys are going to be the 1 seed. I know Dak Prescott probably going to turn the ball over. Can he turn the ball over as much as he did last year? They got a solid backup in Cooper Rush. I mean, I don't have any questions really beyond except the coach and the quarterback. But yeah, they'll get the 1 seed because the tiebreaker with the Eagles. The 2 seed, I think the Seahawks would be the 2 seed, to be honest with you. The 3 seed would be the Saints. And the 4 seed would be the Packers. The 5 seed will be the Eagles because they didn't win that tough division. The 6th seed to be the 49ers, and the 7th seed to be the Detroit Lions. Detroit gets into the playoffs, in my opinion. I see the playoffs turning out this way. Seahawks versus Detroit, first wild card game. I got the Lions with the upset. Saints versus the 49ers. I got the 49ers taking out the Saints. Packers, Eagles, that first game. I got the Eagles taking out the Packers. So we got the Eagles versus the 49ers in the second round. Cowboys versus the Lions. I think the Cowboys get to the NFC Championship game for the first time. And they'll be facing the San Francisco 49ers. Even through all that, I think the Eagles, valiant effort, I don't see them getting back to the Super Bowl. And the Cowboys versus the 49ers in the NFC Championship game, kind of like the 90s. This time I see the 49ers breaking through and getting to the Super Bowl. They haven't the past couple of years. I think they break through this year. They'll be facing the Cincinnati Bengals. I got the Bengals winning it all. That's just my pick for the NFL. I know this is going to be played back. For some of you guys going to come back and say, really? You got the Bengals and they have a disastrous year? Or, the Cowboys or whoever I pick. Texans have a disastrous year. I know I'm going to hear about it. But that's what the fun, that's why these things are so fun. Look back and see, oh, man, what was I thinking? And seeing how the NFL, unpredictable NFL season plays out. I appreciate you guys joining me. It was a lot of fun. Make sure you keep it posted here on the Millennial Funk. I got an H-Town Shutdown podcast coming out later on this week. Also later on this week, I give you my week 1 picks in the NFL. Also later on this week, I give you my top 5 aesthetics from the college football season. So that's going to be a new show as well, a new podcast where I give you my top 5 uniform combination, helmets, jerseys, anything fly, cleats, anything I seen fly that week in college football, I'll break it down. And I'll also give you the college football rundown as well. Appreciate you guys joining me on the Millennial Funk. Hope you guys have a great day. And let's get ready for some football. Peace.